Hey my friends, happy Memorial Day 2015. Today I want to teach you in 5 minutes how to minister in the Spirit. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 12. For we know through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I also know, even also as I am known. And the word that I want to take your attention to is the word darkly. Darkly. So we see through a glass darkly. That's the word enigma. And the word enigma is something that is puzzling, ambiguous. It's a perplexing speech, is a mystery. It's something that is inexplicable. And most of the times when you are going to give a word to a person or use a spiritual gift, God will give you something in an enigma. Why? Because that requires you to walk by faith. If God gave you the whole key at one moment, that would not be faith. Where Christians get stuck when it comes to ministry is that they get one of these words, one of these enigmatic words, and they wait for the understanding before they step out to give the word to the person. But that's wrong, because God does not work first by understanding. God works first by knowledge. The key is, as you get the word of knowledge, the enigma, and you give it, then the understanding comes. If I've seen people that they'll wait for years sitting under seats, paralyzed in fear, because they're not getting the understanding. And may I tell you that you'll die. You'll become an old person and die in your seat if you're stuck there waiting to step out before the understanding comes, because God works first by knowledge and then by understanding. Okay. Then the other key verse is in John 5 verse 19. John 5 verse 19. Then Jesus answered and said unto them, Most assuredly I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father doing, for whatsoever the Father does, the Son also does in a like manner. And I want to take your attention to the word, but what he sees the Father doing, the word see. It's the same word as in 1 Corinthians 13 and 12, where Paul says, for now we see through a glass darkly. That word in both cases is the word blepo, which is the word to glance. If you go into a Burger King and there's a little girl in a red dress, all you got to do is take a glance at her for less than a second and know that her dress is red. And that is called instinctive knowledge or intuitive knowledge. The Spirit of God works by intuitive knowledge. So here's the key to ministry. Jesus says, I can do nothing of myself, but what I glance in the Spirit, what I glance my Father doing, what I glance my Father doing in the Spirit, and what he's usually going to be doing is going to be in an enigma. He's going to glance and see something as an enigma. Then he says, the Son also does in like manner. And that's the word homoios. And homoios is a duplication. It means two of the same kind. So the key to ministry is you glance in the Spirit at the enigma, and then you try to replicate it or duplicate it as closely as you see it. The closer that you can give a word according to the enigma, the greater is the anointing. Let's suppose that you're talking to a 60-year-old woman. You see, I see a little girl with a red dress that she fell from a swing. She was about 6 years of age, and she just scratched herself. And you have no idea. It's a mystery what you're seeing, but you give it exactly the same way you saw it, and suddenly you see that woman break down crying. I've seen that so many times, because though it did not mean something to you, it meant something to her. You did not have the understanding. You only had the knowledge of the enigma, and you then replicated it. Where error comes in spiritual gifts of prophecy, where deception comes in, is either where you add to the word, or you subtract from the word, or you try to interpret it. You don't interpret the enigma, nor do you try to modify it to make it easier for that person. You give it homoios. The way you see it internally is the way you say it externally. Well, I've gone past my 5 minutes. Have a great Memorial Day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.